damn. I was like, money grab. But then I was like, before I could even digest money grab, he came out on the attack. And when he came out on the attack, the first thing I thought, because obviously I got experience with this stuff, I was like, this don't sound like this happened in the 90s. This don't sound like it happened with Jay-Z in the 2000s, which never happened, right? I was like, this sound like this just happened.
Last week,
right? So when I thought that, I was like, I hope he is thinking forward, because if you talking about something that just happened, it's a whole different animal. It's text messages. It's just a mediation you just had. You probably was just in settlement talks. Something bad could have happened. This person got all kind of different ammunition. One of the reasons Jay-Z came out so strong is, one, he's like, I don't even know the girl. But two, ain't nothing they could say or do that hasn't been done. Because it's 20-some years old. If you had something, you would have came. But you got nothing, this is all you got. And I was sitting there like, Shannon, be careful. And then when he came out on an attack, you always know when you play offense, somebody playing defense, and they get paid too. And boy, that response kind of threw me off.
And when I saw him put the text message out, the first thing I wondered, is he doing this as a reaction, or did his lawyers tell him to do this? Because it almost seemed like he just like jumped out there in defense mode, which
he had to because they had so much sauce already. They had
because they had the lawsuit already.
They had it already. Yeah.
True, but most lawyers would tell you don't say anything.
Yeah.
Even no matter what they say, because you're not going to win in the court of public opinion. So just let it play out. I think because he saw.
Well, Jay-Z won in the court of public opinion.
Well, yeah, and I think when Jay-Z did it, people were saying that too. But he was the first one that reacted like that, and it actually worked in his favor. Yeah. But usually, everybody who's been accused, they always say, "Don't say nothing." I mean, I get why he did it.
Oh, it didn't work for me. I don't stop.
I mean,
I don't know, dog.
They just gonna keep shooting. So if you try to defend every one of them, after a while, like if you never say anything, I feel like sometimes it just quietly goes away. But once you start responding, now you're going to get into a back and forth, and you're bringing more attention to it.
You respond because there's actual facts there, and because he knows this girl, and because he has texts, and you know what I'm saying? Like, that's why he got to get in front of it, man, because it's real.
I would have probably responded.
You know what I'm saying? It's like a real thing that's happening, and there's so much. She has so much. Like,
so much.
You know what I mean? Like that's where, as somebody as a prominent figure, as big of a year that he's had, that year was, the podcast was 2-3 years old. Like, so he's been dealing with her for 2-3 years ago. You got to do better, man. You got to know better. Right. Like, also, you can't get caught slipping like that when you're that big.
Also, offering the $10 million says guilt. I mean, like,
nah. Here you go, going back to church to find a good girl. This motherfucker.
That is public opinion.
That is public opinion.
You want to keep your mouth hush.
It ain't true, but
let's keep it under the rug. So let me offer you that.
Well, Trip, that is not true, because you know what?
Play.
One, we would never be able to prove this, because it's like proving a negative. It's proving something that we don't know. But there are a lot of prominent people who have settled out of court. You don't know anything about it, right? And every now and then you'll hear about it. Like, I think there was one time they unearthed some Jerry Jones settlements, and they were like, oh, see. But Jerry's like, all right, for 10, 20, 30, 50 years, you didn't know that, and you're not supposed to be able to do that. So guilt doesn't mean settlement. But what happened in this one was interesting is, did he offer her 10? Because if you notice, peep this, he had a different set of lawyers, and then he switched his lawyer, and then all of a sudden the $100 million comes out and the lawsuit comes out, and then he attacks. So a different game plan, it looks like, whatever that may be. But the lawyer preemptively said that he tried to settle for 10 or tens of millions. Whoever says that, because of the court of public opinion, is going to think you guilty. Yep. So what I'm thinking is, maybe he didn't offer it, and that's why they never settled. Maybe that was her offer, and he was debating it, and finally she either caught wind of the $100 million, or two, she was like, dog, it's been 2 months. You ain't going to do it? Forget it. I'm about to file. And something like that. So I don't know if Shannon said, here's 10, and she said no, because make sense of that. Why would you say no to 10 to go fight for 50, and you probably don't even get that?
Well, but Shannon's lawyer said they offered 10.
Shannon's lawyers.
Lanny Davis quoted, we offered $10 million.
The new lawyer.
The new lawyer.
I don't think the word offered was in there.
Oh, it was in there.
Okay.
It was in there.
It could have been.
And the reason I know that is because my lawyer friends right off the bat were like, that didn't happen.
Yeah.
So I pulled it up and I read the quote from his lawyer. I was like, no, his lawyer says we offered $10 million.
But he didn't say we because he wasn't the lawyer that offered it. He's the second lawyer. Lanny's the second one. He said, I wasn't in those settlement talks, but there was conversation of 10 and tens of millions. See, the language here.
Oh, yeah.
I wasn't there, but I heard tens because that slants to say, man, he offered her that. Guilty, but he offered her that. He trying to get rid of this. And they didn't accept it, which makes me think it wasn't really offered. Who walking away from 10 on OnlyFans when to go fight the good fight for 50?
She's not gonna get no 50.
Yeah, I don't think she
might not even win. It's up in the air.
I think she fought. I think she didn't take the 10 because she knew how much she had on him with the conversation. And if there is a sex tape that allegedly there is, that Shannon came out and said there is,
but you don't win in court off a sex tape.
It's not, but I'm just saying that she knew she could get more if she has more ammo in the tank. If the only thing that we've seen is these text messages and the phone conversation, whatever, if that's it, but Shannon came out and said there's a sex tape.
But that ain't a crime, the sex tape. So I think
it's true, but what's on
that tape? It's gonna make him look different, and he already has admitted that.
What's on that tape?
Oh, it's the optics.
You know
it's the optics with the text messages and the alleged tape. So it's a whole lot of red flags.
Don't forget who you are. When Ray Rice and everything was written and in text about what he did, we had one reaction, and then we saw that video.
Right.
Even with Diddy, it was like you heard. I don't know if that's true or not. Then you saw that video.
You're like, oh,
like that
shit.
video.
Yeah. And see, what I think Shannon messed up is he tried to take the Jay-Z route, where Jay-Z responded, but left it at that. He just gave a public response, and you never heard nothing else from him. Shannon's doing the back and forth thing, and I think that's also what played into the ESPN situation, because had he not said anything or just gave a basic response and let it go to court, nobody's really talking about it. But because he's doing the back and forth with her online, it's drawing more attention. The more people go back, everybody's sitting there watching.
Help me. I think Jay-Z did go back for it. He put out the first one. He was like, this is BS and BS.
And
then he came out.
The lawyer said something after.
Yeah, and then from his team. So then they were like, and then he was like, now we're going to sue you for defamation, and this better go away and get dismissed.
Those are legal responses.
Okay.
But Shannon's is not a legal response. It's like a tit for tat.
Yeah, but Jay-Z actually did it too. He actually filed defamation.
Yeah.
So that's how you knew he was serious.
He was coming.
But that's what the dude Lanny. That's what he said they're going to do too.
Gonna.
See, once again,
but when Jay-Z first said it, he hadn't did it yet either.
Yeah, but they went ahead and did it.
Right.
Yeah.
So we got to give him that same.
That shit takes about an hour.
True.
It takes no time. Right. I'm glad he said that. No one chooses football. Football chooses you.
It's so crazy people still stuck in Pat Mahomes in the offense. I'm like, do you see these numbers? This is Marcellus Wiley on the rocks.